Afternoon, distinguished colleagues. First of all, thank you for having me here. And I would like specifically thank the Communication Association of Kyrgyzstan because they told us about this event and invited us to here. First of all, I would like to address my colleagues from Tajikistan. We know and we see your positive dynamics in your telecommunication sector, and we, as your northern neighbor, we see the increase in traffic demand, and we are very glad for because of this, because your success is our success. I want to congratulate you specifically about this. And today, very briefly, I would like to speak about Elcat, what we are doing in Kyrgyzstan. I have only 3 slides in my presentation. The presentation devoted to the trunk lines. And as our representatives and friends already said, in July this year, our president signed a decree on monopoly or international links and traffic transit through Kyrgyzstan. I don't like to use the word monopoly. We rather use the word exclusive rights or single operator. And now Elcat is this operator. So this is not my slide, this black screen. Colleagues, for the first time, Elcat openly informs the public about this monopoly situation, because before we discussed this with network operators, but never ever before we announced this openly in such event. That is why we would like to have people correctly understand the situation in my country. So finally, speaking about monopolization, people say that we are all of a sudden won a big prize. But I should say that behind these preferences, there is 30 years of a very industrious work on building up trunk lines. So more than 30 years, we were doing our best to become the leader. And now, if we take all the trunk lines, we have a share of 80%, and the national operator has only 20% in our trunk lines network.
To complete consolidation of the trunk line, we need to make the next step, which is the merger. Merger and acquisition of Elcat of Kyrgyz Telecom, or just a merger without acquisition. It will happen provided that we, as an Elcat, manage to demonstrate ourselves as a reliable internet provider in the country. Well, this right and the status of an exclusive and single operator, of course, carries with it a lot of responsibility. When you know that you're the company that's responsible for internet supply in the country, then of course you kind of have to think very thoroughly about that. Yes, you might have the right, you might have the preferences, but then you also have to make sure that it's all secure and reliable. So after that, thought came to us, we began thinking about modernization of the networks and creating additional nodes and data exchange points. So we've built kind of a ring of optic fiber of 4,000 kilometers. We work with all the companies externally. We work with our Kazakh partners, DNS Plus, Jusan, TTC. We also have the channels that we have organized kind of reaching Russia. We have a very fruitful collaboration with Rostelecom, Vipilcom, GlobalNet. When it comes to the internal market, we are the suppliers of internet for all internet providers and for mobile communication operators such as Nur Telecom, Beeline, Megacom, Kyrgyz Telecom, Saima Telecom. Now I would like to talk about the connections, the joints. As you can see on the slide, we have several joints at the border between Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, that's Shaldavar. We also have in Akzol, that is called Korday. Again, that's Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. With Tajikistan, we have a joint at Kızılbel border crossing. With China, we have a joint in Irkeshtam. So the effective joints. But to modernize our infrastructure, we need to organize a geographic division of trunk line. So the inbound internet could pass not through kind of 1, 2, or 3 truck lines. So to that end, we have begun designing and building new joints. The one in Talas Taraz, in the east, near Issyk Lake, there is a location that's called Karkara. So these joints will go through Kigen on Kazakh side, through Karkara, and then to Chup. As for the connecting joints with China, at the last event in Astana, we had negotiations with Kazakh China Mobile, and we have agreed that a new joint will be built in Bedel. Well, the distance between Bedel and Issyk will be covered by a new road, and there will be a new crossing called Bedel. Bedel is a high nearest area. There is permafrost, and therefore construction has been postponed to the next year, once it gets a little warmer and allows for construction works to continue. Speaking of our infrastructure, one needs to understand that our geography is rather complex, and building trunk lines depends largely on climate conditions and on our opportunities, of course. Therefore, construction and laying of trunk lines in Kyrgyzstan is not happening as fast as we want it to be. However, the work is ongoing, and we have certain commitments, we have certain responsibilities, and we will deliver, we will perform accordingly. And this is my light slide that is designed to the core of the network. We are building and designing new tier 4 and at least tier 3 data centers. We currently are in the process of modernizing our central node, center core, and we're building one more next to Bishkek. Speaking of traffic, the incoming traffic is about 1.5 terabyte, of which Elcat services about half of that, 750 gigabits. We predict that by 2027, we will probably have the traffic of about 2 terabytes. And of course, we need to expand the pings, and we've been negotiating with the external providers to expand all the pings at all the joints. So I would like to thank our Kazakh partners for treating with understanding the regulatory changes of Kyrgyzstan that take place in Kyrgyzstan, and for supporting them as well. Because expanding the pings is very fast, it's very expedient, without any delays, it's happening seamlessly, and we're very thankful to our Kazakh partners for supporting this initiative. Well, this is it from me. This is it, and yeah. Should you have any questions, I will be happy to take them.